Look, let's be honest, folks. Humanity has a bit of a thing for strongmen. We've seen this movie before, over and over again, and the ending is rarely a happy one. From Caesar to Genghis Khan, from Napoleon to, well, the guy currently occupying the White House. No, the guy. History is littered with examples of societies falling under the sway of charismatic authoritarians. And every time we tell ourselves, it'll be different. That time, the strong man will fix everything. He'll crush the enemies, restore order, and make our nation great again. Spoiler alert, it never quite works out that way. So why do we keep falling for it? Why is this cycle of attraction to authoritarianism so persistent throughout history? Well, there's no single answer, but it's a question we need to seriously grapple with. Because right now, across the globe, democracy is in retreat. From Hungary to the Philippines, from Brazil to the United States, strong men are on the rise, peddling the same old snake oil of fear, division, and simplistic solutions to complex problems. And if we don't learn from the mistakes of the past, we're doomed to repeat them. This isn't about left versus right, it's about right versus wrong. It's about recognizing the seductive danger of authoritarianism and understanding the forces that allow it to flourish. Because the truth is, strong men don't rise to power in a vacuum. They exploit existing cracks in society, preying on our fears, our prejudices, and our economic anxieties. And once they're in power, they work tirelessly to widen those cracks, turning neighbor against neighbor and dismantling the very institutions that hold a democracy together. Fear is a powerful motivator. It can drive us to make rash decisions, to prioritize security over freedom, and to turn a blind eye to injustice. And authoritarian leaders, like some kind of political arsonists, are masters at stoking the flames of fear. They paint a picture of a world under siege, a world where chaos reigns and only they, the strong man, can protect us from the encroaching darkness. Take Bashar al-Assad in Syria. Faced with peaceful protests demanding democratic reforms, he chose to brand all dissenters as terrorists. He unleashed the full might of his military on his own people, turning a once thriving nation into a bombed-out shell. And why? Because by creating an atmosphere of terror and painting himself as the only bulwark against it, he could justify his grip on power. But it's not just about outright violence. Fear can be insidious, creeping into our lives through subtle propaganda, through the demonization of minorities, through the constant drumbeat of us versus them rhetoric. Look at Viktor Orbán in Hungary. He's systematically dismantled democratic institutions, eroded press freedom, and scapegoated refugees and migrants, all while presenting himself as the savior of Hungarian culture and identity. And let's not forget about our own backyard. Remember the Muslim ban, the talk of rapists and criminals pouring across the border? These weren't just off-the-cuff remarks, they were calculated attempts to exploit existing anxieties and prejudices. Because when people are afraid, they're more likely to accept authoritarian solutions. They're more likely to trade their freedom for the illusion of security. And that's music to the ears of any aspiring strongman. Now, fear might be the fuel, but economic inequality is the dry tinder that allows the fire of authoritarianism to catch and spread. When people are struggling to make ends meet, when they see their livelihood slipping away, they become more susceptible to the siren song of the strongman. He promises simple solutions to complex problems, a return to a mythical past when things were better, and someone to blame for their misfortune. Think about it. The rise of Nazism in Germany wasn't just about Hitler's charisma or his mastery of propaganda. It was fueled by the economic devastation of the Weimar Republic, by hyperinflation and mass unemployment. People were desperate for someone, anyone, to offer a way out of the abyss. Fast forward to today, and we're seeing the same dynamics at play. The gap between the rich and the poor is wider than ever before. Globalization and automation are leaving millions behind. And into this void steps the authoritarian, offering scapegoats and simplistic solutions. He points the finger at immigrants, at minorities, at elites, anyone but the real culprits. A system rigged to benefit the few at the expense of the many. It's a tale as old as time, really. When people feel like the system is rigged against them, they're more likely to embrace someone who promises to tear it all down. They're more likely to believe in the strongman's vision of a glorious future, even if it's built on a foundation of lies and division. Because sometimes, even a false promise of hope can be more alluring than the bitter reality of the present.